Hello, I'm Matthew Creasy. I'm leading the project Decadence and Translation, and I've come to Special Collections here in Glasgow University Library to look at the manuscripts of some poems by the French poet Stéphane Mallarmé.
Right, Matthew. I've worked with the Whistler collection for a number of years, but today we're looking at something that I don't really know a huge amount about. Could you tell me exactly what this is?
Yeah, sure. So what we're looking at here is from a collection of 89 poems handwritten by the French poet Stéphane Mallarmé that he gave to the painter Whistler, who was going to find a publisher for them. And what this strange thing is here is it looks like an envelope, but it isn't actually an envelope. It's a mock-up of an envelope to act as a front cover if Whistler could find a publisher for these poems.
And this here is where the stamp presumably was...
Well, yes, so the reason that it looks like an envelope is that the 89 poems are all address poems. So what Mallarmé did was he wrote, when he was writing letters, he would, for the envelope to address the poems, he'd write a little poem, a quatrain, a 4-line poem, which would usually create a rhyme on the name of the person he was writing to, and then include the details of their address. Right. See? So they're very odd, very unusual, idiosyncratic little kind of little poems. But as I say, here we have the kind of the facsimile, so you can see that it's in the form of an envelope, and the title that Mallarmé came up with for this collection of poems was Récréations Postales, postal recreations. Yeah,
great.
Perhaps if we have a look at one in particular,
let's take a closer look. Good.
Yeah. So here we have the manuscript. And you can see for conservation reasons, there's a little bit of kind of tissue paper around them that the library's put.
Top.
But then this is
the original cover. We've got.
The original
and
cover
that's painters, it says. Does
yes.
That right? Yeah.
So Mallarmé divided up all these poems according to the type of person that he was addressing. He had a very wide range of acquaintance. So he knew poets, painters, literary people. Some of them he grouped as poems that addressed to the women in his life. So the one we've just opened is a little kind of envelope of poems addressed to painters, and in fact the very first one is a poem addressed to Whistler.
Chez Monsieur Whistler.
Yeah. So each little slip contains 9 poems, and you can see that they're. I don't want to kind of. Damage them, but you see they're very delicate. They're on very thin paper. They've been copied out by hand, just on one side of the paper there. And this top one is the top one of 9 in this particular collection.
Could you read it out?
Yes.
See what it says.
Le rire avec la même gomme jaillira si tu te rendis chez Monsieur Whistler et Madame, rue Antique du Bac 110. So a rough translation would be, their laughter with the same note in the scale will ring out if you arrive at the address of Monsieur Whistler, so Mr. Whistler and Madame and his wife, and then the last line, Rue Antique du Bac 110, so that's 110 Rue Antique du Bac, so that's their address in Paris. A couple of kind of important things about it. So it's addressed to Whistler and his wife. Yeah. So this is really about, Whistler is a major painter of the 19th century. Mallarmé is one of the most important French poets of the 19th century, but they were friends, and it was a familial friendship. Looking through the letters between Whistler and Mallarmé, there is constant reference to laughter, and I guess that's partly just a reflection of how well they got on, that they made each other laugh. But I can't tell whether it's a slightly in-joke about whether one of them had a funny or a loud laugh. I think that we're meant to understand that, yes, that it's a nice laugh either way. But yeah, so it builds this kind of a reference to their friendship into the poem. Yeah. You see, that then serves as a letter. And I think this is one of the ones that we know that was used as an actual address for a letter.
So a letter was posted using that address?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
So some of them were actually used as addresses and some of them weren't, and then he's kind of gathered them again for this collection, Récréations Postales.